The transfer window opens in less than a week, and while we don't really know what's going on with the Manchester United manager situation, we do know what's going on with Manchester United's transfer plans and the transfer situation. We've got ideas of who their targets are, who they're going to go through, who's the number one priority target in each position, and what could our lineup look like next season. Well, I'm going to break down all of INEOS's Manchester United transfer plans in 10 minutes for you guys so you can stay up to date on all of that. I'm fed up with talking about news, rumours, manager scenarios. Let's talk about the plans. We're going to start with the outs and then we will focus on the ins, who Fabrizio Romano says we want and how reliable these are. So with the outs, Varane, Martial, Brandon Williams have all basically left United out of contract, and Amrabat is basically left. But maybe we buy him back, but I don't know if we will. So off the bat, that's like nearly £50 million in wages saved. I think that's like just over £40 million in wages saved just from the players that have left on free. Casemiro is expected to leave maybe around 25-30 million to Saudi Arabia. There is rumours of 50-60 million, but I think it will be around the 30 million mark. Plus, there's 20 million saved in wages annually if Casemiro leaves. Sancho, the 30 to 40 million mark. United want 50 million, but it's Manchester United. They know that he can't really come back because he refused to play for 4 months, so our selling power is quite weak with that. Greenwood, again, our selling power is quite weak with 1 year left on his contract. Obviously, some clubs don't want him for non-footballing reasons, so maybe 25 to 30 million for Greenwood. Eriksen, maybe 5 million. Police Stream Edge, be 10 million each. Lindelof, McTominay, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Man United are open to selling for the right price. They're not necessarily desperate to get rid of them, but they'd be open to selling those players. Obviously, Rashford, Anthony, and Bruno, it's not expected that they're going to be sold. INEOS would like to sell Anthony, but PSR not going to look good, making a 60+ million loss. Bruno probably won't leave, but if bids in 100 million come, they may consider. Same with Rashford, probably won't leave, but if mass bids come in, they might consider. There was rumours of Ahmed exit as well if he's not guaranteed game time, but we haven't had much clarity on that. The only 3 Man United players that are officially safe are Højlund, Maino, Garnacho, but it said that basically Licha, Delo, and Bruno are seen as very safe, and Rashford is seen as safe unless he wants to go as well. So let's talk about the targets. So Fabrizio Romano said that United want 2 centre-back signings, 1 for each side, a midfielder, a left-back, and a backup striker. Now, depending on sales, so if Sancho and Greenwood go, it will be a right winger, and potentially if Eriksen, McTominay, Casemiro, and Amrabat go, of course, there'll be 2 midfield signings. So we're going to talk about centre-back because Man United want to have a Varane replacement, and they're going to spend big on a centre-back. And these are the names that have been linked the foremost as a Varane replacement. Now, Branthwaite, you may not say is a Varane replacement because he plays, on the left, but he also can play on the right. I guess he's got Varane's sort of dual winning ability, box defender. Now, with Varane going, we need someone that's good in the air. We need a box defender, a dual winner, and Branthwaite brings that. He's Premier League proven. He's homegrown. He's got a warrior mentality. He reminds me most of Vidic, of all the sort of United defenders, in the sense of not comparing it to Vidic. Vidic is just an unbelievable level. But I think he's got that mentality of where he would literally put his body on the line for the club. He's very good in the air, very good box defender. Playing out from the back, there's definitely question marks around that, but he plays for Everton and he's not asked to do that, but he looks very competent and comfortable on the ball should he be asked to play out from the back. Mobility and pace, there's always question marks around that, but he does look like a very, very good player, but I think it's all about the right price. If he goes above 55 million, United will walk away from the deal, which is fair because as good as a player he looks, 21 years of age, great season at Everton, great season at PSG, he's not worth much more than 50 million in my opinion. Now, a player that would be an unbelievable signing, a player that I think could be the long-term replacement to Varane and could arguably be ready now at 18 years of age is Lenny Yoro. Now, I've put him as a right centre-back / DM because he's been able to step up and play into DM and mirror what John Stones has sometimes done for Manchester City. He's a good dual winner, but his IQ for 18 years of age, his anticipation, his reading of the game is brilliant. He's got that body where he's athletically very difficult to beat 1v1 because he's fast, he's strong, he's tall, he's got that long legs where he can eat up ground, defend large spaces, but he also looks good on the ball and good in build up. Lenny Yoro, if we could get him, I think he's Real Madrid bound, would be ideal. Todibo, there was rumours of him being 21 million, but I think it is going to be around a 30 million fee, which is still a bargain. Can also fill in at right back if needed, but he's an elite wide channel defender, very good at defending wide spaces, like a slower version of Mickey van der Ven. You know how Mickey van der Ven's brilliant at defending the wide spaces and the channels for Spurs? He's like that, but it's obviously not got the pace of Mickey van der Ven, but he's so good on the ball, so good at defending 1v1, so good at breaking lines. I would be a big fan of Todibo coming in as well. I think Todibo and Branthwaite would be, 2 really good signings. I think that's who United are looking at. But if Lenny Yoro is possible, then you've got to go for Lenny Yoro. Another one that, look, I'm not going to be mad if we sign him as a second centre-back option, but not as a priority centre-back option, is Chalobah. 25 million, Chelsea may need to sell. Homegrown, good end of the season with Chelsea, good on the ball, decent all-round centre-back. As a Maguire replacement, fine. As a Varane replacement, absolutely not. Personally, I like Chalobah. I think he's a good player, but I think the other 3 names on the list would be better signings. Other signings we've looked at, if Branthwaite does not happen, it's Inacio, who probably is the priority after Branthwaite, who I really like, but he's very similar to Martinez, and there's definitely question marks about he couldn't play with Martinez and his athleticism, but he could play left back, he could play left centre back. If Martinez gets injured, it's a great signing. If Martinez stays fit, we're not using him as much. Gay's a good option as well, can play left, right side and right side, and obviously Koeman, Premier League proven leader. On the right side, you've got Bremer, obviously of Juventus, and Salimo of Boca, who would probably likely go out on loan, but he looks good. I think he's actually a left-sided centre-back. And obviously Antonio Silva as well of Benfica, but Benfica sort of pricing him out of move, and I think Man United have kind of gone a little bit off Antonio Silva just because of the price tag. It's probably a little bit too much. Which brings us into midfield. Now, in my opinion, midfield should be the number one priority. We've got Maynard, we've got Bruno, they're mint, but we need that one to partner them. Now, if United could get any of these players, they would get Joao Neves, but I don't think United would be willing to spend much more than 60, maybe 65 million a push for Joao Neves. And I think maybe if we're lucky, we get him for 70 million, including add-ons. But I don't know if United will pay that much. But Joao Neves is technically elite. He's very similar to Maino. Can play as a 6, can play as an 8, best in the dual pivot. Him and Maino, I think, can work really well together, but also they lack that physicality and maybe that sort of, that person that stops play, that warrior that protects the back four. They're both very good on the ball. Maybe the perfect partner for Maino could be someone that's better off the ball. But then when Joao Neves is so good and him and Maino are both 19 years of age, you have the 2 best 19-year-old centre midfielders in football. He athletically can cover ground. I think he can work with Maino, but I think if we got Joao Neves in, I'd still want a physical signing in, which brings us to Fofana, who would be my first choice, 25 million. Obviously, you've got the World Cup, but the deal's expected to be done in August for him to either go to one of the many Italian clubs showing interest in him or one of the many Premier League clubs showing interest in him. Whether United win the race for him because he's such a good player, available for £25 million when the DM market is very difficult, who knows? But he's an athletic monster. He's 6'1". He's very good at winning duels, very good at, breaking up play, covering large amounts of ground, which is something that Eriksen and Casemiro have struggled with this season. And United need players that can cover large spaces. But he's also quite good on the ball as well. He can win back the ball, but he can move the ball forward quickly. He's happy to carry the ball. He's happy to play long passes. He's got a good eye for a pass. He can drop deep, receive the ball off the centre-back, break lines and play it forward, which would be absolutely needed. Koeman. Now, Koeman has everything we want in a player off the ball and his ability to create space, his work rate, but there is definitely limitations around how he's not very press resistant. Obviously, if we have Maino and we have Martinez and we have Luke Shaw and we have a really good right-sided centre-back that's really good at playing out the back and breaking lines, Koeman's not that big of an issue. My big question mark around him is he's not very good under pressure, but he is a good passer and he's good at making space for himself. He's just not good in tight angles, which could be the worry about him. But I think he's very good at creating space for himself. He's a good carrier, he's a good passer, he's a good tackler, a good duel winner. And I think the off-the-ball presence to bring the best out of Maino, Koeman definitely has aspects of that. And then we've got Joao Gomez. He has played a lot as a DM and as a CM. In my opinion, he's an all-action 8. I think I would bring him in alongside of Fofana or Koeman as a second centre-mid signing. I think he's brilliant. I think his ability to crash the box as well is really good. He can carry the ball, he can pass the ball. He's not the most physical, but he does use his physicality well. Premier League proven. I think could be a very good athletic player for the side. Amadou Onana has also been linked. Archie Gray, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, Andre Fluminense, Palacios and Weaver, also names to keep an eye on. But the other 4 have been linked heavier. Which brings us into attacking priorities. Now, we know that Manchester United want a backup striker to help out Højlund as a priority, but it's not been made that clear who the strikers are. So we've got their 2 wing priorities and the 2 striker priorities going in attacking priorities. Now, Olise, I'm worried he's going to go to Chelsea. Chelsea are aggressively working on that, but that is United's number 1 right wing target. And what a player Olise is. What a player. I mean, he's elite. I mean, I will do a video on him if we sign him. He's so good. He's a pass-first winger. He can strike, he can create, he can dribble, he can hold the width, he can cut inside, he can rotate in the half space. With Bruno Fernandes, he'd give service to Højlund. He can do everything. Desiree Doué is a left wing who can play attacking midfield, that can play right wing. Kind of like Neymar was when he was younger. Very versatile, very highly technical player. He's got that Neymar Foden-esque about him. When you look at him on the ball, the way he uses his body to manipulate defenders, how he can weave through tight spaces, then use his pace to get away. He can go inside and outside, dribbling 1v1. He takes on his opposition with so much ease. He's got a great eye for a pass, very clever, very high IQ. I think Desiree Doué has, Ballon d'Or level potential as well. But do you not want someone more ready-made? Guirassy is a good striker option as a backup to Højlund. Martial's gone. We need a backup to Højlund if he's injured. You could pen, I think he's got 17 million euro release clause, but, I put him 50 to 20 million. That backup to Højlund, 28 goals and 2 assists in the Bundesliga, good conversion rate, clinical. Something happens to Højlund, you can get Guirassy for 15 to 20 million, depending on if the release clause is still there. Experience, bring him in. That helps. And then Man United's number one striker signing would be Cunha, but obviously he's very likely to be out of budget. United probably won't be able to spend that big on Cunha unless maybe they don't get their right wing target. Then they may drop a bit more money on a striker. Now, they like Cunha because he can drop deep and facilitate wingers and help all-round play. He would bring out the best in Rashford. Now, if you look at Martial brought out the best in Rashford because Martial could drop deep and link with his wingers, which is something that Højlund can do, but he hasn't established that relationship yet. Højlund's definitely more of a box forward that just scores and is bosh. He's a warrior. Like, Højlund's going to be a better goal scorer than Cunha, but Cunha could play with Højlund. He could play behind Højlund in the Bruno role if we need to rest Bruno, but he could facilitate. If you have Rashford on the left and Olise on the right-hand side, who, I know Rashford hasn't had a good season, but Rashford's got crazy goals and assists in the past. Olise's got 16 goal contributions and 14 Premier League starts this season. Cunha facilitating those two wingers would be insane. He can retain the ball in the final third, link up play well. I mean, Cunha, Olise, Fofana, Joao Neves, Todibo and Branthwaite would be like an amazing transfer window. We have looked at Neto and Nico Williams on the wing. Nico Williams, I think wages are a bit iffy. We've looked at Ivan Toney, Tallis, Robbery, Sesko, Marlon, Ansel for striker, but I think United are keeping their striker plans quiet. Now, left back. Now, Fabrizio Romano says we'll sign a left back. I don't think we're going to spend more than 20 million on a left back, although Kirkes seems to be the one we've inquired most about. I don't think we get him for less than 30 million because Bournemouth are very much like, we're not going to sell him, but he's defensively secure, decent on the ball, has a lot of potential. Now, one option that I think could be really good is Nice's Bard. I think when I've watched Bard, he looks very, very good. He looks very competent. And I think one thing he could do is rotate with Rashford, whether it's in the half space, whether it's overlapping Rashford. I think he could form a really good relationship with Rashford. He's only 23 years of age. He's a good carrier. He's a good crosser. He looks defensively good. You've got Miguel Gutierrez again, who's very good going forward and looks like an exciting winger, but I haven't watched enough of him. And then you've got Nori, who's brilliant. There would be question marks around him defensively, but because he's got such good recovery pace, he could be a good option as well. Which brings us into, what do I think United will look like next season? We know INEOS' transfer plans for each position. I think realistically, Girassi, Olise, Fofana, Todibo and Branthwaite could be 5 signings we make, and we miss out on left back and we miss out on second midfielder. I think potentially if the budget stretches a bit more, you maybe get a Joao Neves in there, you maybe get a Kirkes at left back, but I think the one on the left is more realistic, although there's rumours that Olise and Chelsea is close, so if we don't get Olise, maybe it's Todibo, but I think Girassi, Fofana, Todibo and Branthwaite seeming realistic, and then maybe that 5th signing could be a left back, it could be a winger. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below, let me know your thoughts on this lineup. Thank you for watching, bye.